Hey guys, I'm E from Zen Creator. I'm here with my fellow co-founder, Khee. Thank you for joining us, Key.
It's great to be here.
And I guess I'll start with this. We got into this journey.
hmm
What brought you into this journey of starting a new startup for mental wellness?
Well, I've been a startup guy for a long time and spent most of my time in technology. All my startups were technology.
Right.
And what's really cool about this is that I arrived at this time in my life focusing on a wellness company because I was seeking out my own personal mental health wellness. Because when you are working hard, working startup hours, grinding, um, you know, you forget about your own personal
Absolutely.
happiness. You
Absolutely.
forget about your own personal mental health and even your physical health. And so when I left my last startup over a year ago, I was pretty flamed out. I was pretty burned out. And instead of jumping into another role, I was offered like another CMO role immediately.
hmm
I was like, you know what? I don't want to just jump into something so quickly, even if the
Yeah.
offer's there. And I wanted to take a time out for myself to really think about, recalibrate, what do I want to really do next? But that led me into seeking out wellness, my own personal
Right.
mental health wellness. And then during that personal journey of meditation and seeking out different resources, it became apparent to me that this can actually be a big business. I mean, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
being a startup guy, you think about like TAM, total addressable market,
Yeah.
and all the basic elements of evaluating, of creating a company. And the reality was this personal journey has now become a professional journey.
Beautiful.
And I am so thrilled. And what's neat about it is that when people know me as, I've done a lot of startups, always been in tech. I worked at Google for a decade. And this is my very first company, very first startup that is focused on humans. It's not about tech. There is no app, right? I mean, there is some tech use, but we're using, virtual Google Meets and all that stuff. But the reality is, this is about being human. And I think that,
And that says a lot, given that you spent a decade at Google in
yeah,
early days, right? It says a
yeah,
lot about how much you see there's a need for this, right?
it's a huge need. I
Yeah.
mean, last year in 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General said that mental health is the biggest health crisis of our time.
Wow.
And unfortunately, I believe that we're only at the beginning. We're at like inning one of even a greater crisis.
Yeah.
And so I think it's incredibly important
To do
that
something
we
about
bring
it.
awareness,
Yeah.
right? Awareness to the challenges of just dealing with what's going on with our lives, working and social pressures and familial pressures, um, and trying to figure out what, what, uh, where can we find guidance? Where can we find resources to really rebalance our lives and feel better about ourselves? Because I don't have any survey data right now, but I'm pretty sure most people are pretty burned out. I know for a fact influencers or creators, nearly 70% of all creators say they are burned out, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure behind that is the general population feels very burned out. So we have a big issue, if just from a general population perspective.
So let's jump in a little bit more, and I'm going to ask you some tough questions along the way.
Okay.
So bear with me.
Yeah.
I think the audience should get those answers. Why creators? So you obviously you saw
Yeah.
an opportunity. The TAM is big. You saw there's a need. You want to do good in the world. Mental wellness is area that we want to do. We want to contribute into.
Mm-hmm.
But why content creators? Let's start with that.
So why content creators, influencers, creators?
Right.
Well, it's because there is data that's basically says content creators
hmm
are more burned out. They have higher prevalence of anxiety, depression, and burnout by at least 20 to 38% more than the general population. Now, I can't boil the ocean, meaning like addressing the entire market. We're very focused on creators because they just have a higher prevalence. And I think the reasons are obvious, right? It is the pressure to create content every single day. Like I became a creator in the last year just by happen chance, by posting food videos. And then next thing I know it, in a matter of like 6 or 7 months, I have like over 200,000 followers. And that happened out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But then I started to feel the pressure, like that's not my full-time job.
Yeah.
But as like a secondary job or, just hobby, I felt daily pressures of putting videos of food up every day.
Yeah.
And then in the world of creators, it's a very uneven income inflow, right? Sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's not. So,
And when was the first time you got your check? That was fun.
yeah,
Tell us about that.
it was the end of the year. I'm predominantly on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so, being from Google, I activated, AdSense and
Yep.
ads. And the next thing I know, like, wow, it was like, I'm going to call it a significant check for me.
Yeah, it was a good
Like,
check.
wow.
It was a good check.
Like, where did this come from?
Yeah. So you had the fun of getting the check.
It was the
of course,
thrill of knowing that I'm monetizing videos.
but that's the tip of the iceberg that
That's
a
the
lot
tip
of
of the
people don't
iceberg.
know about content creators, right? So the tip is people see the fame, they see the money,
Yes.
but they don't see the bottom of the iceberg, which is what we're focused on here.
That's exactly it. Like, yes, at first it was fun, like checking in on how many subscribers I got that day. I was like, wow, look at that. Like, oh, this video did this video did that. And then, I felt like the cherry on the cake was, oh, wow, I'm actually making money off of this thing, right? But then I started feeling the pressure of continuing, of uploading videos.
Yeah.
And I think everybody can relate to this. Two of my videos went north of 100 million views in just a few months. And I still don't know why, but it did. And they did. And they're performing well. But you look at all the comments, I would say 99% are negative. Like 99%. And I was like shocked. And by the way, these are just like food, drink videos, really drink videos. And
Tell us more about that. I'm curious. What were they saying?
a lot of it's sarcasm, right? Actually, it's a wide variety of things. But I think the important point here is that even though like I think I'm a pretty well balanced guy now,
Yeah. They shook you
it
a little bit.
still impacts you. Like
Yeah.
seeing, people from all around the world negatively commenting on what I think is a pretty innocuous video. And that does impact and erode your mind
Absolutely.
and therefore your mental health. So, yeah, and I think there's obviously other reasons that contribute to creators, influencers having higher anxiety levels, becoming more depressed, being more burnt out. So yeah, I think there's a reason why we're focusing on creators because they're like in the red zone.
Absolutely. And
They're in
they
the red
influence the
zone.
world, right? If we can help
They
creators,
influence the world.
we can help.
They influence people.
Right.
And of course, we want everybody to be influencing in a very positive way.
Yeah.
But it's hard to be positive when you yourself may not be positive
Correct.
internally.
Correct. Love it. So tell us a little bit about solutions you came up with. So you basically, okay, now we know you create a Zen creator,
Mm-hmm.
huge opportunity. We're doing good in the world.
Yep.
We'll love it.
Yes.
How do we go about that? How do we help? How do we do it? Tell us about that, Khee.
So this is what I find interesting about life.
Yeah.
Okay. You look at sports, the athletes of the world who are professionals, even at the highest level, like a LeBron James or even a Michael Jordan, they still got coaching,
Absolutely.
right? I was talking to a friend recently who became president of her company, and immediately they gave her executive coaching. And I asked her, how do you feel about that? She said, that's incredible because one, she said, I love the fact that the company is making an investment into me, right? It's not just I got promoted to become president and go run. They feel that, you know what, we need to continually invest into this person. She said, so that was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my point is this, like the vast majority of people don't get any kind of coaching, unfortunately, right? We have to do things on our own, read books and read blogs, whatever it is, or and tap into different resources. But the reality is the highest performers in their professions are being coached.
Yeah.
And so how does this relate to mental health wellness? Well, um, I think there's a huge opportunity for coaching, mental health coaching, not therapy, because therapy is different. Therapy is about intervention, about diagnosing and pharmaceuticals and fixing things.
Hmm.
Coaching is about building and building you into a better person through introspection, through awareness, and through planning. And so I think there's an incredible opportunity to bring mental health coaching to the forefront. And just like I said with the Michael Jordans of the world and LeBron James, they are still coached to become the very best at what they do. Even though they're highly skilled, just like for creators, a lot of creators who are highly skilled, but they're also going through some challenges with their mental health. Well, why not bring to the forefront? Why not bring to them mental health coaching so they can continually build upon a positive foundation and help them rebalance?
Help them become the best version of themselves, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
by the way, there is data now that supports that just after just 12 weeks of mental health coaching for a creator, their productivity can skyrocket.
So tell us about that. We have a partnership. I'm not gonna. I want you to talk about it. We have a partnership we have collected data on this. Why don't you share with the audience about that data?
So we have a partnership with a Harvard-trained psychiatrist named Dr. Alok Kanodia, or we like to call him Dr. K. He's also known as Healthy Gamer in the gaming world.
Right.
He is a medical doctor and did some post stuff over at in Boston, like as a Harvard trained, and he's kind of become like the de facto preeminent mental health coach for gamers because he himself is a gamer. In fact, he grew up as a gamer and almost fell out of college because he was gaming so much. It was taking up too much of his time. The great thing is he rebounded, went to India, rebounded, was able to finish off and get a degree, and then went on to a wonderful medical school up in the Northeast. And then he started posting content on YouTube, I think early in the pandemic. I'm not exactly sure when. And now he has well over 2 million subscribers on YouTube. And you post incredible content. Like I listen to
Same.
almost
I love
on
it.
a daily basis. I listen to different snippets. And the beauty of what he's talking about is that he can relate. He himself was a gamer that was taken over by the stresses of gaming. So he was able to craft and create a curriculum around mental health coaching specific to gamers. But he's also a creator, right? Because now he's on YouTube with over 2 million subscribers. And so he's obviously evolved the mental health coaching to address creators specifically.
Yeah.
Right? And so what we have done is partnered up who we believe is one of the preeminent physicians around mental health coaching that is specific to both gamers and creators because he is one and he can relate. And the other great thing about coaching, working with him, is that he recently did a study with folks that are in his coaching program, and he was able to demonstrate that just after only 12 weeks of coaching, that's it. Only 12, now we would suggest you keep coaching continuously, but just after only 12 weeks of coaching, productivity skyrocketed. Now, these are not guaranteed results for everybody.
Yeah.
But in the aggregate, video views went up by 200%. Subscribers doubled as a result. And it's because creators were able to build themselves back up. They were able to continually work because sometimes you do take time outs, but through coaching, you don't necessarily have to take a time out. There's a plan, you build towards the objectives for that person. And as a result, they become more productive. And the productivity is not just about quantity, but the quality of their content improves, right? Because they have a better sense of purpose in life. They feel stronger about themselves. They feel more positive about themselves. And that's reflected in the output of their content and videos.
Interesting. So give us like hard numbers. I know you know them. Let's share let's share with the crowd. So what are the hard numbers in terms of working with the Dr. K's trained coaches? What happens when content creators work with them? What happens to their performance? I know that depression gets better. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I wish I had the numbers. I wish I remember the numbers. But I think after you go through coaching, what does happen is that depression, feelings of depression gets reduced. Your feeling of anxiety gets reduced. The feeling of burnout gets reduced.
Which is a big problem, burnout. We heard so much burnout. Every conference we go to,
huge.
80% of content creators talk about burnout.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when we went to VidCon and VidSummit, I just felt like every other session that we would attend, you just kept hearing from every other session, like, creators are feeling burned out.
Absolutely,
right? You know, this is very anecdotal, but I was talking to one of the big 3 talent agencies in LA, and someone that oversees the creators, because they have a huge roster of influencers and creators. And they mentioned that the number one talking topic amongst their roster of clients is mental health. It's a big issue. It's a real issue for all these folks. So with coaching, getting back to your point, with coaching, yes, it does address the feelings of anxiety, depression, and burnout. But the beauty of coaching is that not only does it help reduce those challenges or issues, but actually gets you back on track to even becoming a better version of yourself, that you become more like superhuman almost. Now, like I said, nothing is guaranteed, but through a study through Dr. Khee, conducted by Dr. Khee,
400, right? The research was done with 400 content creators.
Right.
And I'll jump in if you don't mind. On average, the research that did it with 400 creators working with coaches for a minimum of 12 weeks, on average, these creators they doubled their viewership on their videos and channels. 2x, which is unbelievable, right?
Incredible.
And they had their record subscribers after working with these coaches. They hit their new records that they had never achieved before. That's a huge thing.
Yeah, coaching helps you become the better version of yourself, just like Phil Jackson made Michael Jordan the best version of himself.
Absolutely. Great. I love that. I love that analogy.
Yeah,
love true. Michael Jordan.
Yes. Exactly.
Got it. So tell us a little bit more about your vision. This is the beginning of the journey. Tell us about how you see Zen Creator, 1 year, 3 year, 5 years. What's the long-term vision?
The long-term vision, the overall vision, is to bring wellness to creators. Because right now there's a lot of toxicity out, obviously, in social media. Absolutely. Social media exacerbates, the mental health challenges and issues. And I think in year 1, we kind of want to help blunt these, exacerbating, factors. But ultimately, we want to bring wellness to people so they can really become the best version of themselves. And we think we could do that through mental health coaching. Now, there's the other side of the business that we haven't really chatted about, which gets me also excited. Mm-hmm. And that is, we're going to be creating and curating and programming wellness retreats around the world for creators. We'll say about 20-person invites to creators, and take them to places around the world like St. Lucia and Mexico and other places, and have programming that really focuses in on them, that helps them really focus on those things to help build them back up. And hopefully after 5 days or however long the retreat is, that they feel supercharged and they're back to being rock and roll stars. I'm excited about it.
I'm excited too.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. But that's the other half of the business. I would call that the fun part of the business.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us more about that. What's your vision for the fun part of the business?
The fun part of the business.
Yeah. What's your vision on that?
I mean, I think I would love, just from a quantitative perspective, I would love for us to have some kind of wellness retreat almost once a week, to be honest with you. Now, obviously, that requires a lot of hiring and a lot of things to go right. But, this year, towards the back end of the year, we'll have our first couple and, we'll learn from that. And then in year 2, we will have a lot of learnings. And we'll have a cadence, a little stronger cadence on a number of retreats. And then as year over year, we hope to have more frequency of retreats and different types of programming, because I think one program does not fit all.
Absolutely.
So we'll see. And generally, if you take a step back, wellness tourism is exploding right now. People, if you just look at the most recent studies from the Global Wellness Institute and things like that, what they're saying is that people are actually actively seeking out wellness in their vacations. Now, it may not be the primary thing. It could be secondary, like a yoga class at a certain resort. But the point here is that there is an upward trend in changing of behavior and mindset, that not everybody just wants to read a book on a beach, which is totally fine, of course, but they may want to read a book on the beach sometimes, but they also want to seek out programming around wellness on their 7-day vacation somewhere. So there is definitely,
I would love that.
Yeah. So there's definitely a shift in terms of seeking out wellness in just your general vacations.
Beautiful. Where would you do those wellness retreats? I know it's too early to ask these questions, but give us some little like snippets of locations and stuff.
All around the world, right? I was just talking to someone today about Eat, Pray, Love. I love that book.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And I was sharing with this person, like, I do want to make a research trip to Bali.
Tough job.
Well, the irony is that just coincidentally, I actually, after this, have to go to a movie premiere for an Indonesian film, and I was with the producer and the director and the writer all last night. They're all Indonesian, so I'm pretty excited. And we're talking about Bali, and I was like, you know what? Bali's gonna be one of them.
Bali's definitely a place for retreat for sure.
Apparently, Thailand. I learned this from the Global Wellness Institute study recently, that Thailand is really emphasizing wellness resorts. So they're becoming like the leader when you look at countries that are really trying to pivot towards that.
Got it.
So yeah, well, I mean, all around the world.
You mean it?
I just mentioned Bali. I mentioned St. Lucia. I mentioned Mexico. I mentioned, right? Of course, we're going to find places in the U.S. There's definitely a lot of places in the U.S., whether it's Sedona or elsewhere.
Texas. We're talking to somebody in Texas, right? A hotel resort.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. What else?
What else should we talk about? Let me ask you then.
Please, go for it.
Eren, how about you? Why did you lean into this, and what brought you to this point in time in your career? Because you're a CFO.
Yeah.
Right? You're originally a CFO. You're a finance guy. You're a hedge fund guy, right? We have two very different backgrounds.
But we end up in the same road.
But
right?
we end up in the same place, in the same mission and vision in life and for a company. Why are you starting this called Zen Creator?
It's personal for me. So during COVID, I had my own journey, and it was a tough mental journey for me.
Yeah.
COVID. I became one of those statistics that you see on papers where divorce rates skyrocketed. So I went through a divorce. That was already a big shock for me because I thought you just get married once and you give your vows and you stay with this person till the end of your day. That's kind of like the plan was, right?
That's the dream.
That's the dream. But like there's a saying, man makes plans and God laughs. So this was a great example of God laughing up there saying, dude, that's not what's going to happen. You're going to have a lot of twists and turns in this life that you live in. So I got into a tough road and I had a coach. I still have the same coach. I've been working with him now for 3+ years.
Wow.
And he helped me tremendously during my divorce. And he helped me. He told me, look, it's okay to mourn. It's okay to be depressed, but will it get you back up? It's all about like, you know, when you get punches, it's how quickly you can come back up, right? Yeah. That's what life is about. And he's an awesome individual. And he helped me come back. So I was like, this is personal. I got to help. I benefited so much from this coaching that I got to share this with love with the rest of the world. And as you know, I was CFO of Channel Factory, right? Channel Factory is the biggest third-party advertiser on YouTube today. And obviously, we influence a lot of dollars flowing into YouTube ecosystem. And we always talk about amplifying positivity and minimizing negativity. And that's how Zen Creator was born. It's part of that conscious movement that we're part of, that we're leading at Channel Factory, where we want to amplify positivity and help our fellow content creators who basically work in our ecosystem to become the best version of themselves. That's how I got passionate about this, and my heart, I always say, is with Zen Creator.
Yeah. So do you think this would be the last thing you do in terms professionally?
I'm not sure about that. Again, my goal, God could be laughing up there. My goal is to work till my last day. Yeah. I want to work till I die. Yeah. I love working. Yes. Once I take a vacation for more than 2 weeks, right, it's I honestly not for me, right? Yeah. However, it's all about balance, which is I think what we're achieving at Zen Creator. We're going to help people balance, right? Yes. Meaning, even if you work too hard, especially work too hard on the wrong goals, you burn out. Yeah. Right? So it's all about not getting to that level where you're burning out. It's about keeping the balance, right? So I meditate every day, for example. When I do my schedule, I work a lot, but I'd like to at least take one day of the week when I'm really shutting off. Right. For me, I've chosen that to be Saturdays. I'm okay working on Sundays. Yeah. But I'll shut off on Saturdays. On Saturdays, I'll make every effort I can not to think about work, because I need that. And that's where I'm plugging the iPhone and charging the battery. We're humans. We also need to be charged. So true. So I need to charge the battery so I can be my best version to you as a partner, to my partners at Channel Factory, and create the best version of myself. And these are the things, honestly, my coach helped me a lot. He's like, you got to meditate every day. And you only see the benefits of meditation after doing it for a certain amount of consecutively for a certain amount of time, right? So he basically kind of forced me every day, check up on me. Are you doing it? Are you doing it? And make it a habit. The same way we brush our teeth, right? If you brush our teeth once a week, it's not going to work, right? We have to do it twice a day, every single day, consecutively. So meditation is actually very similar. The benefits really start showing up once you start doing consecutively every day. Yeah. And then you start seeing the benefits. Yeah. You start being more patient with yourself. Yeah. You start being more patient with others. You start being a better colleague, a better, life partner, husband, wife, a kid to your parents, a parent to your children. You just become a best version of yourself, right? Yeah. So, yeah. So basically, that's how. I'm sorry to answer it for a long way, but that's how I ended up in this journey.
What's interesting is there's a book called Atomic Habits. It's like generally a top 10 New York Times bestseller in the nonfiction, and it's by James Clear. I think that's his name. And what you basically describe, right, and it's also part of coaching, is that his point or his premise is that results are not driven by having these lofty objectives. Real results happen because of systems that are
Absolutely.
in place, your daily systems in place. And you were demonstrating that by the fact that you were coached into meditating on a daily basis. And there's other things that you had mentioned. And though that system that was curated with your coach has gotten you to a much better place.
Absolutely. Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's what we're trying to do, is create create a plan with a coach, build towards the objective by implementing a daily system into your life, into that person's life, so they can become the best version of themselves. And that's all anybody asks for, is to become the best version of themselves.
Absolutely.